Hi, welcome to Math 76, Lesson 123. In this lesson, we're going to go over square roots of numbers greater than 100 and functions. We've practiced finding square roots of perfect squares from 1 to 100. In this lesson, we're going to find the square roots of perfect squares greater than 100. Now, we'll use a guess and check method. Now, as we practice our guesses, improve, and we begin to see clues that help us to estimate the answer. In the example on the whiteboard, we have the square root of 400. Now we need to find a number that when we multiply it by itself, its product is 400. We know that the square root of 400 is more than 10 because 10 times 10 equals 100. We also know that the square root of 400 is much less than 100 because 100 times 100 equals 10,000. Since the square root of 4 equals 2, the 4 in 400 hints that we should try 20. And we do find that 20 multiplied by 20 equals 400. Therefore, we find the square root of 400 equals 20. Now, let's try another one. Looking at this example, we see the square root of 625. Since 625 is greater than 400, which we just answered, we know that 625 is greater than 20. We also find that 625 is less than 30 because 30 times 30 equals 900. Since the last digit is a 5, that indicates that we might want to try 25. Now, we find when we multiply 25 out, 25 times 25 is in fact 100. Therefore, we find that the square root of 625 equals 25. Now we're going to move on to another concept. We're going to start talking about functions. Nathan thought of a rule that would use the length of the sides of a square to find the perimeter of the square. He recorded the results in a table in which S stands for the length of the side and P stands for the perimeter of the square. Nathan created a function which is defined as a pairing of one unknown, in this case, the length of a side, with exactly one other unknown. In this case, the perimeter. We say that the perimeter of a square is a function of the length of each side of the square. The rule of the function is to multiply the length of the side by 4. To find the perimeter, the rule can be expressed in this formula. P equals 4S. Now, we find the missing number in the table by applying the rule to the number we were given. In the table, we see that when S is 5, P is 20. When S is 7, P is 28. When S is 10, P is 40. So when S is 15, we multiply 15 by 4 and we find the missing number is 60. So here, this missing number would equal 60. Let's try another one. Looking at this function, find the rule for this function, then use the rule to find the number for m, when L is 7. So we study the table and we discover the rule of the function. We see that when L is 5, M is 20. Now we might want to guess that the rule is to multiply L by 4. However, when L is 10, M is 25. Since 10 times 4 is not 25, we know that that guess is incorrect. We need to figure out a different rule. Now we notice that 20 is 15 more than 5. And we see that 25 is 15 more than 10. We guess that the rule is to add 15 to L. In the last line of the table, L is 15, M is 30, which fits the rule. So we find that M is, when L is 7, we add 15 to 7. So for this rule, we would do 7 plus 15, which we find equals 22. Instead of using the letter M in the table in this example, we could have written it. So instead of using M, we could have written the rule L plus 15. And that replaces the M, which means to add 15 to the number for L. We show this in the next table we're going to look at. So looking at this table, we find the missing number in this function table. Now this table is arranged horizontally. The rule of the function is stated in the table. So we have the rule right here. Multiply the x number by 3 and then subtract 2 to find the missing number. In the table, we apply the rule to the function when x equals 4. So the rule would be, we would take 3, multiply that by 4, and then subtract 2. When we do that, we find that it equals 10. So the missing number is 10. Now you have some problems to practice. I'll put the answers to the practice problems in Canvas if you'd like to practice them, and check your answers there.